25th Amendment, now he is nuts. Obama is nuts. Obama is nuts. Nuts.
25th Amendment,
25th Amendment, now he is nuts. Obama is nuts. 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 Obama is nuts. Nuts. 25th Amendment,
25th Amendment
is nuts. Obama is nuts. Nuts.
Nuts. Nuts.
Obama is nuts.
Nuts.
25th Amendment, now he is nuts. Obama is nuts.
Nuts.
Obama is nuts. Nuts.
25th Amendment,
25th Amendment, now he is nuts. Obama is nuts. Nuts. Obama is nuts. We're starting.
Somebody's listening to the recording. Hi, I'm Jessica Tremblay. And yeah, Diane asked me to sing something today, and I thought of two wonderful pieces by Mozart, Abendempfindung und An Chloe. And the words are up here. This is the Abendempfindung. I've been thinking about this question for a while. I had the luck, or I was lucky in the sense that at the age of 12, I moved to Germany with my parents, who were political organizers with LaRouche at the time. So I had to learn German. And it also opened up a whole new section of the question of classical music for me, and many different things. I don't want to go into the details, but for me, when I speak German, it's like a native language, and when I sing German, it's like it is a native language. So, and I did a lot of musical work in Germany, some singing and things like that, and I always had this particular idea of communicating the profound ideas that a poet has, and then having it enhanced by the music. And I came back to my native homeland here in the United States 4 years ago, and I've been confronted with this problem, or this challenge, that there's this wide range of musical poetry, the German lieder, but it's in a language that is not familiar to people. And then recently, Mr. LaRouche has been bringing up this question of classical music again, and I found this challenge absolutely fascinating. Because he said, for example, about the youth generation, that they're impervious to classical music. It's not the sound that they can't associate with, but they are not letting themselves be touched inside by the inspiration of this music. And this thought really grabbed me. So when I think about this question of classical music here in the United States, I know there's very often a reaction, you know, when people hear opera or singing and saying, "Oh, that was so beautiful." But classical music has to go much further than that. For example, yesterday I was rehearsing with Margaret at a church, and one of the members of the choir was there, and she was listening into the rehearsal, and all of a sudden in the middle of the piece she got up and whispered to a friend of hers, that music is so beautiful, I can't sit here and listen to it. And she got up. It was kind of interesting. It was, you know, a very, very interesting idea. I thought, maybe I'm actually doing something right, because somebody is touched in a way that they can't quite handle it, but they don't know why. So what I want to do in a very short form is shake you up about classical music. Try and bring down some of those barriers that exist. There is a language barrier that exists. There is there's other barriers that exist, but certainly there's a certain kind of a foreignness to classical music and classical song and presentation, which I'm absolutely convinced we have to get over if we want to become those souls that we need to become politically. And I think when you think about this, the classical music, one of the key things about classical music is that it brings into you individually, it inspires in you a good passion, which is a passion that makes you happy to be human. And how many of us really experience that in music that we have generally, number one, music you have generally, but also around classical music. If you don't get into the poetry, think about the poetry, think about the musical ideas that are being developed, you're not touched enough to be completely happy about being human. And this is something that we have to get over. And I wanted to try and do this through these two songs by Mozart, which he wrote actually in June of 1787. He published them 2 years later. They're, by the way, some of the very few songs that he published himself. He didn't write very many, but he didn't publish very many either. But he wrote these songs at a very crucial point in his life, right after he found out that his father had passed away, which, of course, when a very close relative passes away, it's a huge connection to your own mortality, obviously, and thinking about what can you do that is immortal. So I just wanted to read a short quote from a letter he wrote. This is the last letter he wrote to his father in April of 1787, so just a couple months before he wrote these. Writing to his father, "I have this moment received a piece of news which greatly distresses me. All the more because I gathered from your last letter that you were, thank God, in very good health. But now I hear you are really ill. I am sure I need not tell you how greatly I long for reassuring news from yourself. Indeed, I expect it, even though I have accustomed myself to contemplate the worst on all occasions. Since death, when we come to consider it, is seen to be the true goal of our life, I have made acquaintance during these last few years with this best and truest friend of mankind, so that his image not only no longer has any terror for me, but suggests, on the contrary, much that is reassuring and consoling. And I thank my God for blessing me with the opportunity, you understand me, Father, of coming to recognize him as the key to our true blessedness. I never lie down upon my bed without reflecting that, young as I am," he was just 30 at the time, "I may perhaps never see another day, and yet not one of those who knows me can say that I am morose or sad among my fellows. For this blessing I daily thank my Creator and wish with all my heart that my fellow man may share it." So that's what he wrote to his father, and I'd just like to take a look at these songs, and actually I'd like to read through the English so that people are familiar with the text and with the content and think about it. So I'll start with the Abendempfindung. I'm just going to read the English. Evening it is. The sun has vanished and the moon streams with silver rays. Thus flee life's fairest hours, flying away as if in a dance. Soon away will fly life's colorful scenes, and the curtain will come rolling down. Done is our play, the tears of a friend flow already over our grave. Soon, perhaps, the thought gently arrives like the west wind, a quiet foreboding, I will part from life's pilgrimage and fly to the land of rest. If you will then weep over my grave, Gaze mournfully upon my ashes. Then, O friends, I will appear and waft you all heavenward. And you, my beloved, bestow also a little tear on me, and pluck me a violet for my grave. And with your soulful gaze, look then gently down upon me. Consecrate a tear for me, and do not be ashamed to cry. Those tears will be in my diadem, then the fairest pearls. The poet of this one is thought to be Campe, but it's not quite clear. Same thing. So these are, anonymous poems that he chose. And then An Chloe, which in a certain way I actually like better. I hope you'll hear it in the music, because he takes, again, I think he saw them as a pair. So this I find it interesting, and I hope you'll hear it then in the music. To Chloe. When love shines from your blue, bright, open eyes, and with the pleasure of gazing into them, my heart pounds and glows, and I hold you and kiss your rosy, warm cheeks, lovely maiden, and I clasp you trembling in my arms. Maiden, maiden, and I press you firmly to my breast, which at the last moment, only at death will let you go. Then my intoxicated gaze is shadowed by a gloomy cloud, and I sit then, exhausted but blissful, next to you. So what I find, again, something to think about is that for the German speaker, when this is presented to them, the language, it's their mother language. It's right there with them. They're confronted in the poetry with these ideas, right? So this is very important. That's why I really think that having the poetry there, being part of it, trying to follow through is extremely important to getting to that passion that we need to get at. And the difficulty that especially exists in an American audience of these nice notes, these beautiful sounds, is broken through if you allow the poetry to work on you as it should, right? At the same time, what I just found I think a very insightful way of putting it. One of the biographers of Mozart wrote about Lieder in the following way. He wrote, "The musician wasn't satisfied by simply describing the poetry in tones and through that to enhance the poetry, but from his own musical fantasy, he recreated the poetry anew, and in doing this, broke the poet master's right to his own poem through the song." So the music actually breaks through the song, breaks through the idea, and in the new language of music, recreates this idea. So,
Can we have cell phones off, please?
yeah. So I'm not going to go into the details of the song, because I hope that through the presentation, these ideas will be transferred from my mind and Margaret's mind to your mind from Mozart. And that, of course, is always the very big challenge when you talk about music, to then take a deep breath and walk over there and let the composer then speak. So, but I thought that it was necessary, and I firmly believe that in the next generations, an introduction like this will not be necessary. That we're going to be in a situation where we will be able to communicate on that level from person to person through the composer about these immortal ideas, and we'll be able to have a dialogue, a musical dialogue on the composition and how Mozart saw this composition, how Beethoven saw it, and how we can reenact those great thoughts. So just quickly, if people can't see the words, I do have a few copies in the back of these songs for somebody who needs a copy. Otherwise, Abend ist's, die Sonne ist verschwunden und der Mond strahlt Silberglanz. So entfliehen des Lebens schönste Stunden, fliehen vorüber wie im Tanz. Bald entflieht des Lebens bunte Szene und der Vorhang rollt herab. Aus ist unser Spiel, des Freundes Träne fließet schon auf unser Grab. Bald vielleicht, mir weht wie Westwind leise eine stille Ahnung zu, schließ ich dieses Lebens Pilgerreise, fliege in das Land der Ruhe. Werdet ihr dann an meinem Grabe weinen, trauernd meine Asche sehen? Dann, o Freunde, will ich euch empfangen und will Himmel auf euch wehen. Schenk auch du ein Tränchen mir und pflege mir ein Veilchen auf mein Grab und mit einem seelenvollen Blicke sieh dann sanft auf mich herab, sieh dann sanft auf mich herab. Weih mir eine Träne und ach, schäme dich nur nicht, sie mir zu weihn, oh, sie wird in meinem Diademe dann die schönste Perle sein, oh, sie wird in meinem Diademe dann die schönste
Brust hineinzuschauen, mir's im Herzen klopft und glüht. Und ich halte dich und küsse deinen Rosenwangen warm. Liebes Mädchen, und ich schließe zitternd dich in meinen Arm, in meinen Arm, in meinen Arm. Mädchen, Mädchen, und ich drücke dich an meinem Busen fest, der im letzten Augenblicke sterbend, sterbend nur dich von sich lässt. Den berauschten Blick umschattet eine düstere Wolke mir, eine düstere Wolke mir. Und ich sitze dann ermattet, ermattet, ermattet. Aber selig neben dir, ermattet, ermattet, ermattet. Aber selig neben dir, aber selig neben dir, aber selig neben dir, neben dir, neben dir.
Jessica said at the beginning, and this will go well. The only thing I have to say is it's obviously a different song. It's by a different composer, but it's still part of the same category, the same genre of Lieder, German Lieder art songs. And you'll see this one is slightly different, but I don't want to give anything away, but this is happening at an extremely important point in German history when Schumann, the composer, is writing this. There's a lot of upheaval, there's national union, there's national division, and you have an entire movement in Germany, a lot of which is modeled on what had happened in America. So there's a lot of that sentiment, that revolutionary sentiment of union, national sovereignty, and etc. So this is somewhat of a commentary.
Nach Frankreich zogen zwei Grenadier, die waren in Russland gefangen. Und als sie kamen ins deutsche Quartier, sie ließen die Köpfe hangen. Da hörten sie beide die traurige Mär, dass Frankreich verloren gegangen. Besiegt und geschlagen das tapfere Heer und der Kaiser gefangen. Da weinten zusammen die Grenadier, wohl ob der kläglichen Kunde. Der eine sprach: Wie weh wird mir, wie
eine alte Wunde. Der andere sprach, das Lied ist aus. Auch ich möchte mit dir sterben, doch hab ich Weib und Kind zu Haus, die ohne mich verderben. Was schert mich Weib, was schert mich Kind? Ich trage weit bessere Verlangen. Lass sie betteln gehen, wenn sie hungrig sind. Mein Kaiser gefangen. Gewähr mir, Bruder, eine Bitt, wenn ich jetzt sterben werde, so nimm meine Leiche nach Frankreich mit, begrab mich in Frankreichs Erde. Das Ehrenkreuz am roten Band sollst du aufs Herz mir liegen. Die Flinte gib mir in die Hand und gürt mir um den Degen. So will ich liegen und horchen still, wie eine Schildwach im Grabe, bis einst ich höre Kanonengebrüll und wie herrnden Rosse Getrabe. Dann reitet mein Kaiser wohl über mein Grab, will Schwerte klirren und blitzen, will Schwerte klirren und blitzen. Dann steig ich gewaffnet hervor aus dem Grab, den Kaiser zu schützen.
So I'm going to be singing a song that's not necessarily classical in a very strict sense, but I think you'll all forgive me, because it's from our next door neighbor, Russia. You can you can see the words. Having been captivated by the rose, the nightingale, day and night sings over her. The rose silently drinks in the songs. And just like this, we have, a young man singing to his maiden. She listens and can't figure out why he's singing or why he sounds so sad. And so this song is pretty captivating. I call it a Plenivschießer. Plenivschieß. Yes. That's my, what would you call Russian and English? Rushlish. It's a Plenivschießer.
we figured it wouldn't be right to just have one Russian song. And I'll also make an added commentary on, I forget exactly what the discussion was. It was in a newspaper article or a discussion. The new ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul, under Obama's administration, when asked what he knew about Russia or why he was qualified to be the ambassador, he said, I know not, more or less, I know not Russian culture. I can't recite Pushkin by heart, but I'm an expert in democracy and dictators, helping overturn dictators and their governments. That's why I'm ambassador to Russia. Now, obviously what we're taking is a different angle to actually understanding Russian culture. And you'll see these songs are different. They're still songs and there's still a certain beauty to them, but the culture is different. There's a different history, and it's a very beautiful history. And that's what we're going to be interacting with. When you think of something like NAWAPA and the entire generations that you're going to be organizing with and interacting with, it's a big deal. So it's fun.
Уймите с волнения страсти, засни безнадежное сердце. Я плачу, я стражду, душа утомилась в разлуке. Я стражду, я плачу, не выплакать горе я в слезах. Напрасно надежда мне счастье гадает, не верю. Обетам коварным разлука уносит любовь, как сон неотступный, грозный. Мне снится соперник счастливый, и тайно, и злобно, кипящая ревность пылает, и тайно, и злобно, оружие ищет рука. Гадает, не верю, не верю, коварным наветам. Я луфтите снова моя, минует печальное время. Снова обнимем друг друга, и страстно, и жарко забьется воскресшее сердце, и страстно,
song which is not exactly in English, but it's in Scottish.
Which is important for defeating the British Empire.
Yeah.
By yon bonny banks and by yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love will ever want to gay, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, ye'll take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. 'Twas there that we parted in yon shady glen, on the steep, steep side of Ben Lomond, where in purple hues the Highland hills we view, and the moon coming out in the gloaming. Oh, ye'll tuck the high road, and I'll tuck the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. The wee birdies sing, and the wildflowers spring, and in sunshine the waters are sleeping. But the broken-hearted can't nae second spring again, though the waeful macies spray their greeting. Oh, ye'll tuck the high road, and I'll tuck the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond.
Hello. I just wanted to say about this, which, you can follow along. But imagine being an Italian citizen and one morning in the 1800s being reminded that your nation was a republic and that your nation had been through a renaissance. And then imagine yourself a member of parliament under the Monty government with the task of voting in an austerity budget, and again being reminded that you were a nation that had a renaissance and you were a nation that had a republic.
Anybody else inspired to sing, feel free.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Bye.